Sinovac are expected to arrive this week after getting an emergency use authorization from the FDA. But there might be some tweaks to the vaccine priority list, as the China-made jabs are not recommended for healthcare workers. President Duterte will announce on Wednesday whether or not the entire country will be downgraded to modified GCQ status in March. The president has thumbed down the DepEd's fresh proposal to resume limited face-to-face classes. And retailers went on a pork holiday once again after the promised hog shipments from the Visayas and Mindanao failed to arrive this weekend. And in lighter news, onlookers cheered as a 139-year-old Victorian house in San Francisco found a new home. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. The FDA has awarded an EUA to Chinese drug maker Sinovac, but the regulator is not endorsing it for the use of healthcare workers. Greg Gregorio is live from Mandaluyong now to to help us make sense of this. Hi, Greg. Why is Sinovac not recommended for health workers? Is it because of the 50% efficacy rate?
Sean, Sinovac becomes the third pharmaceutical company to be given by an emergency use authorization or EUA by our Food and Drug Administration. This means Sinovac's jabs may be already used in the government's vaccination program, but not yet for commercial use. FDA Director General Eric Domingo said that upon thorough review, they found that the China-made jab is safe to use. Its interim phase 3 data from ongoing trials in Brazil, Indonesia, and Turkey showed it has 65.3% to 91.2% efficacy. 2 doses will be given with a 4-week interval to individuals 18 to 59 years old and are clinically healthy. However, the vaccine is not recommended for healthcare workers. After a trial among health workers in Brazil showed it only has a 50.4% efficacy rate, Malacanang says it will revisit its prioritization list after the non-recommendation to health workers and senior citizens. Let's listen to FDA Director General Eric Domingo.
Yung safety profile niya is good. Yung mga adverse event po nito is mild to moderate. The usual po, no, na pananakit sa braso, konting sinat, at ang rating po niya ay maganda doon po sa allergy and anaphylaxis. Mababa po ang posibilidad na magkaroon ng allergy or yung severe allergy or anaphylaxis.
Sean, Palace spokesman Harry Roque said we did not sign an indemnification agreement with Sinovac, similar to what was asked by Pfizer. However, it will still be covered by the indemnification bill, which is being pushed in the Congress. Sean?
All right, Greg, for once and for all, do we know when these vaccines from Sinovac are arriving? Supposedly, the schedule was for tomorrow, February 23. Is this in any way delayed?
Sean, as of now, we don't have an exact date as to when will the 600,000 doses to be donated by Sinovac will arrive in the Philippines. However, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III said the Chinese embassy asked for 3 to 5 days for them to prepare the delivery of these doses. Sean?
All right, now with regard to that vaccine priority list, do we already have an idea on who will be first in line to receive the Sinovac shots instead of healthcare workers?
Since health workers and senior citizens are no longer part of the recommendation to receive this vaccine, according to Palace spokesman Harry Roque, the government would have to revisit our prioritization list, and we would have to wait for the revised prioritization list of the government. Sean?
All right, wait and see when it comes to that. One last question, Greg. Since there is already an EUA for Sinovac, will this mean that Sinovac's clinical trials will be pushing through here in the Philippines?
Sean, the Sinovac has been given an approval for the conduct of their phase 3 clinical trials in the country. Earlier today, we asked the Department of Science and Technology if the Sinovac will push through with their late-stage trials here in the Philippines. According to Dr. Jaime Montoya, Executive Director of the DOST PCHRD, the Sinovac's phase 3 trial will push through because they need to finish all their trials before they can apply for a certificate of product registration here in the Philippines for them to make their vaccines available in the market. Sean?
Thank you for answering all our questions. That was News 5's Greg Gregorio reporting to us live from Mandaluyong. The Senate has resumed deliberations on the proposed legislation for the speedy purchase of COVID-19 vaccines. For the details, we have Ria Fernandez reporting to us live from Quezon City. Hi, Ria. What were the key points from today's hearing? All right, we'll try to get back to Ria in just a bit. For now, here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. The President has rejected the DepEd's fresh proposal to resume face-to-face classes. Palace spokesman Harry Roque said that in-person learning will not likely reopen or restart until August or when vaccinations are hopefully already well underway. President Duterte is expected to decide on Wednesday whether or not the country will shift to a modified GCQ status in March. His public address, initially scheduled to take place tonight, has been moved to give way for a full cabinet meeting. And the Cebu LGU has rejected recommendations to put the entire province under lockdown due to the rise in COVID-19 cases. Governor Gwen Garcia says they can still manage the situation as Cebu's healthcare system is not overwhelmed as yet. And the Department of Health recorded more than 2,200 new COVID-19 cases today. And this brings the total number to more than 563,000, some 28,000 of which are still considered active. 6 more people died of COVID-19 on Monday, pushing the death toll to almost 12,100. Meanwhile, total recoveries are now at over 522,000, with 33 new survivors in the past 24 hours. All right, circling back to the Senate, resuming deliberations on the proposed legislation for the speedier procurement of COVID-19 vaccines. We have Ria Fernandez back on now, joining us live from Quezon City. Hi, Ria, you can hear me fine now? What were the key points from this hearing?
Yes, Sean. Sean, some lawmakers urged their colleagues and the national government to rethink the proposal that COVID-19 vaccines can only be procured through a tripartite deal. During the interpellation, Senator Panfilo Lacson said local government units and even the private sector must be considered as partners rather than competitors. Lacson explained that allowing them to buy the jobs on their own will facilitate faster rollout of vaccines. Senator Sonny Angara, who sponsors the proposed measure, vowed to revisit this particular provision. But according to him, the proposal primarily aims to ensure enough supply and equitable distribution. On the issue of vaccine passport, Angara said it has been revised to vaccine card to mitigate the seeming mandatoriness. The lawmaker expressed confidence that the government will be able to raise the needed funding for vaccine procurement. Out of the 83 billion pesos authorized budget, Angara said around 50 billion pesos is already insured from multilateral loans. Sean, since Senate Bill 2057 is certified as urgent, we expect that this will immediately hurdle the third and final reading here at the Senate once it passes the second reading today. Sean?
All right, thank you for that update. That was News 5's Ria Fernandez reporting to us live from Quezon City. We'll have more stories after this quick break. Stay with us.